What's happening, guys? Doing a video review today. Joe Craig here, rake free champ at the Hippodrome. Gonna be looking at one of the Winter Classic champs, also at Hippodrome, from last year. I believe it was around February time. This got sent in a couple months ago by one of my friends. Just gonna watch how they're doing. They're playing 25 NL on Party Poker. Let's get in the action. So, got ace 10 here in the cutoff. Going to be opening this 2.5. Really like the size. If we're aware of people aren't free betting very much from the blinds and they seem a bit stationy, like to open to about 3x there. Ace 10 again, this time on the button. Quite like this as a free bet. I don't think you can call it as profitably because you might get squeezed by the blinds quite often. I'm somewhat familiar with the player pool here. Looks like we have a cold call here in the small blind. And now they've min bet, which is really weird. Honestly, I think you can just take a card off here with ace 10. If you hit your ace of 10, you're probably good. 9 wouldn't be so bad either. You're definitely getting the odds to do it. I don't think this player has very much, but when people take this line, I don't think that they're going to be folding very much when you get raised. When they get raised. So it looks like we did a raise and got called here. So hands that I would like raising here against the player who cold called. The overpair is pretty good. Probably wouldn't be free betting 6s, 3s or 8s. If we have 9, 10 diamonds, that would be really good, especially on this turn. 9, 10 of spades would be really good as well. Looks like we've gone for a raise. Again, I don't think you're going to get too many folds here. Just take a card. When it goes all in, it's just over. 5, 10 here, we can defend button open and the small blind open, so probably should have seen what happened there. Ace 8, I don't think is strong enough to flat here. So if you wanted to have a flatting range in under the gun versus middle position, Ace Jack suited, be okay, King Queen suited and up. I quite like ace 10 suited and king jack suited as a free bet, sort of free bet bluff. Continue with pocket pairs like 6s and up, maybe 7s and up, if you're going to be flatting. I just see us folding a lot. We might get squeezed again by players behind. Get away from that fold button. Yeah, that is fold now. Seeing who I recognise here. I recognise the big blind name. I think this video is from a couple months back. King Jack. So we don't really want to have a flatting range in the small blind, as again the big blind will squeeze quite often there. So let me just see what I would be opening here. Sorry, free betting with here. So we want to have a linear range rather than a polarized range because we're not calling. So when we're not calling, we just want to be raising all of our hands. So we're just going to have strong hands in that sample. So against the button in the small blind, be something like all of these aces. Definitely 7s. Go as weak as the 9s here. Maybe 6 and 8, 7 suited. So something like this. That's about 14%. If you have a read that the button is going to be 4-betting you a lot, then I really like adding in these hands as well. 5s, 4s, 3s and 2s. And when they 4-bet, you can shove over and still be really profitable if they call. but I'd say usually something like this. So King Jack was, I think it's really close. You can probably do it against weaker opponents or people opening too much. Yeah, it could go either way. Definitely Ace Jack and King Queen would be in there. This is fine. I prefer having suited hands when I'm playing out of position. Or something that's really strong. Or can make a really strong top pair hand. That Queen 10 is sometimes an open there in middle position, depending on who's in the blinds again. So if you can tag these people, see what's going on, are they fish, are they regs, that can really help you decide what to open there, as it is right on the cutoff. Definitely going to flat this suited hand. So we're going to be checking to the razor 100% of the time, and this is one of our slam dunk check raises on this board. So I don't like the call as much, because when we call, if we do hit anything that's not the queen, it looks really obvious that we have a flush draw. So if you raise the flop and then barrel on the diamond turns, then it's easier for your opponent to call with ace queen, whereas now it's looking a little dicey if he has ace queen, and they're probably just going to check back a lot. I still don't recommend you lead on the turn when you hit your flush, so yeah, I definitely prefer check raising the flop. So if we have something like, let's see what hands we're flatting with. So yeah, I'd probably put in all the suited aces. We would have 8s and 10s. We'd have all the pairs actually. Ace jack, yeah, pretty much something like this. Maybe the 9s as well. So these hands are really good at realizing equity. So when you complete the action and you know you're not going to get free bet or squeezed or anything, these hands play really well. So that's about 16%. So on this flop, if we raise and we get re-raised again, we're really happy just shoving in King Jack suited here. So we would balance out this really powerful semi-bluff with some other hands. If we have aces with ace of diamonds, I really like calling, so we wouldn't put that in our raising range. Let's get rid of some of the hands we wouldn't have, as we would have free bet. Ace queen we probably would have called. So what would we be free betting a flop with? So we'd have ace 10. We may have ace 10 off. Let's put that in for now. King jack suited of diamonds. King 10 we won't be raising. King 9 of diamonds. Yeah. I think that you wouldn't be able to slam it in when you get re-raised. Let's look at our really powerful ones. So 8, 10. Yeah, so basically it's going to be 8s, 10s, which is 1%. Ace 10. Let's put in both ace 10s. So that's about 2% of hands, and then we would put in our big draws as well. So this would be the diamond combinations of King Jack, King Queen, Queen Jack, 10 9, Jack 9. If we have it, 5, actually 6 7 of diamonds, and 6 7 of hearts would be good as well. So you could put in hearts in these as well. So when you raise, you can either hit your gut shot or open end or whatever you have, and then barrel the heart turns as well. But yeah, we're basically just slamming this in with about 4%. And when we get called, if we do get called, we're still doing fine. So as I played, you should probably check this to the razor anyway. Maybe they want to protect their hand if they have something like ace king, ace queen. I do expect him to check a lot though. So on the river, the bet size, our opponent's most likely holding here. They probably do have an ace, but it's unlikely they have 2 pair. This 3 or 4 is not going to change anything. Probably don't have ace 10, or they would have bet the turn most likely. So we block ace jack, we block ace king. Ace queen is one of them, and pocket queens would be the other one that may check back. I think he probably would bet ace queen on the turn though. So if we go for an overbet here, I don't think there's enough strong hands in their range. You know what, I'd probably bet something like 3/4. I think this bet's okay though as well. About 150% pot. Could look a bit bluffy, so you might get called if they do have ace queen. Got pocket eights here. Pistol Pete. I know a guy called Pistol Pete. I don't think this is him, because I don't think he'd have a limping range under the gun. So, looking to make this about 125. You can make it 1 and maybe 125 out position, but I prefer 125. It's a good price for taking down the pot when you do have some of your bluffing hands. I would raise eights, but I would make it a bit bigger than this. If we get check 2 here, I probably would check back. Maybe collect some bluffs on later streets. You don't want to get check raised, but if he does have the queen, and you hit your 8 on the turn, you're just stacking him, and you're just seeing a free card, which is gonna happen. I know it's a tiny percentage of the time, but it will happen sometimes. Did we just pass queen 10 there? Let's go back. 8-10. 8-10 suited. Okay, so against middle position open in the cutoff, I don't think we can call this profitably. I wouldn't dunk it straight away. You can think about free betting it. So hands that you can probably call profitably here be something like hands like this. So the hands that you don't think you can call profitably, hands like that and up, sorry, so including these, or you free bet those for value as well. So you might put in some of these hands that you think you can't really call, which will up your free bet percentage in that position. I don't mind a fold though. I think folding is much better than calling there. Ace-6 easy fold now after that person's open. Nine-7 is not quite strong enough there. Yeah, I think these folds are all good. Definitely open this. So it looks like we're going for 3x in under the gun. So I quite like the opening size and we're using. So it looks like we're going to be doing 3x here, 2.5 here, and I don't think we've seen a button open yet, but probably about, I quite like 2.2, but 2.5 fine as well, and 3 if, you know, you don't think you're going to get free bet very much. Planet Zing looks like a familiar player as well. Okay, excellent. So we've got a flop here. So these are the tightest ranges that you're going to face without there being a free bet pre-flop. That's under the gun versus the big blind call, or maybe the small blind call. So big blind completes the action. Yeah, probably small blind's a bit tighter. Big blind's going to be next tightest. I think they do just give it to you a lot, especially if they're one of the regular players. So when we get check 2 here, our value, sort of heavy value range is going to be the over pairs, ace jack, king jack. I think is on the cusp with diamonds. Yeah, I think it is probably a bet as well. Queen jack suited, definitely check. So I'll go for 3/4 here. So I think we can size that up a bit, but yeah, it's fine. Alright, so ace king off in the big. See what's going to happen in his hand. So we've got open, middle position, flat in the cutoff. So we're going to be making about 350 as a squeeze. We should squeeze this 100% of the time. This guy's called as well. So we should definitely be squeezing this 100% of the time. You don't want to be flatting ace king off here, as it's, if you hit your ace or king post flop and there's 3 other players in the pot, 4-way to the flop, even 3-way to the flop, your hand's got reverse implied odds because you're pretty much resigned to check calling down or maybe check raising a flop, and you'd feel like you underplay your hand otherwise. But you'll find that if the other players start betting free streets, unless they have ace queen on an ace high board, your hand's not going to be good. They're going to be betting stronger hands than top pair, top kicker there. So with 3 people in, rather than making it about 350, I'd probably go for a 4, maybe slightly over 4, 410, 420. 390 is fine. A little bit deeper there as well, aren't we? Alright, this is not looking great. This guy's probably going to call now as well. Alright guys, pretty sure no one's got aces or kings and we block them. So that is one good thing working for us. On this board, I may have flatted. Jacks would be really dependent. I think I would actually squeeze the jacks because this Dalton 4-4 guy, I think we can get a lot of value against him if this guy decides to fold. And also we're in position against this player if we had jacks. So I'd probably raise jacks plus. I'd probably flat the 10s. Ace queen suited, ace queen off, ace king suited, and probably again, because these guys are in the pot, king queen suited, ace jack suited, and sometimes the offsuit king queen and offsuit ace jack. I would be playing pretty, conservative post flop. So I think I bet on here queens and jacks, because we don't want to give them a free turn card. Looking to barrel the turn, and that will basically get us all in. So what sort of bet size would I use if I had those hands? So, I think about half, maybe about 40%, and then we can just jam the turn on good turns. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't bet this hand though. I think we're just gonna get action from people who look like they have jacks and 10s a lot. 9s, those sort of hands. I don't trust them in folding enough. Let's see what bet size we go for. I think this bet size is quite big. I don't think we need to bet this big. And it looks like we're nearly committed against this guy if he goes in. I probably would have just check folded this one, but I would bet the diamond combination. So ace jack of diamonds, king queen of diamonds. And with the strong nut flush draw hands, and maybe the king queen. Actually, I'll probably bet king queen of hearts, king queen diamonds and hearts as well. So it looks like we should size up. So we made it 0.75 last time in position. So against this player who looks a bit stationary as well, definitely go for 1.25, maybe 150 here. So it looks like we did size up our position, but we can definitely go bigger. Okay, so we are looking to get in our stack now post-flop. Kind of hoping he calls us down with an 8. Maybe he's limp call pocket 9s, but I doubt it. Maybe hopefully call us down with 6s or 7s. So what we need to do to get our stack in would be to bet 10% of our opponent's stack, which would be quite a big bet on this flop because it's about $2. And then we follow that up with pot size bets on the turn and river, and then that will allow us to get all in against this player. And I do think queens are going to be good against his all-in calling range. When we go half this size, we're kind of resigned to getting half his stack. This would be a turn that I would check as well. I would... The thing is, if there was a lot of draws that missed on this flop, I'd be more inclined to check, let him bet, and then have an easy call. But since we beat 8-9, there isn't like a flush or a straight draw on this flop. He's gonna have like pocket 5s and stuff a lot here. If he's got a king, he's got a king, but we're calling anyway, right? So if we check, he can bet like 3/4 pot with a king, and then we have to call. Against this player, we should probably try and get some value. So maybe bet like half the pot with hands like this. Maybe even a third of the pot and just get a crying call from him. I don't expect him to bluff very often, either if he's like limping and calling a lot pre-flop. I don't trust him to bet for me, you know? Ace 4 past that, 7-4 past that. Okay, so definitely would be raising this hand against the cutoff and the button against middle position. I think it works well as a flat. Sometimes ace queen suited is a raise. I think flat's fine, especially because we've got this player in the big blind who really likes to see flops. Surprised he folded there. So ace queen got some showdown value here. I don't mind. I think I would raise queen 10 and queen 9 on this board, and that would be of any of these suits. With ace queen, I'd probably check call it. Really small bet there, so I'd definitely check call now. On the turn, hoping to show this hand down, but can't really take much heat from more bets. If this was a club, we could think about making some other moves, but yeah, it's going to be tricky to... I don't think our hand's going to be good here. So this is probably the only way we can win. Actually, the 8-9 combos and 5-6 combos would be really good to raise on the flop as well. Now that I see that turn. Just reminded me. Yeah, 5-6 suited, the clubs would be nice, something like that. I would probably just check this. Our hand may be good, and I think we can bluff with better hands. Probably got them to fold like 8s or 9s, 10s there. Looks like we've got a note on this play. I'm not sure what the orange note means. Definitely can call this hand profitably here in the big blind. Probably be free betting hands like 8-6 suited, 5-6, 4-5 suited, those sorts of hands. Because the thing about the button against the big blind is you're gonna have lots of calls because you'll be calling with, you know, all the suited aces, the medium pocket pairs and things like that. So this is where you'd have polarized range. So say you want to raise something like, maybe put in just the suited ones of those. So as your strong hands, it would be these ones, and then as your weak hands, maybe something like this. So they'll sort of balance out there. Because these hands are just profitable or cool. You don't need to be free betting suited aces here. Maybe 6-7. Yeah. And we'd just be calling all these pocket pairs here. So that'd be 6.79%. Against 5.28. So you'd be really heavy on value free bets if you did that. These are quite thin bets. The ace, jack, king, queen, when you consider their continuing range. So you could probably branch out even more actually. Something like this, maybe put in some free gappers too. And then your polarized range will be more balanced there. So this is a check call on the flop with middle pair and some backdoors. Don't really see any other move we can make here. Yep. So we're really hoping he goes check check now, and we can maybe put betting on the river. Much bigger bet on the turn. If we hit our straight, it's pretty obvious. So it's going to be difficult to get value. We're going to have lots of 10s we can continue with here anyway. We're going to have like all the 10s. We probably call ace 10s suited pre-flop and ace 10 off. So yeah. I don't think we should be turning this hand into a bluff or anything. I think we'll have better hands to call. This is really close. I think it could go either way. It might make the river tough if he decides to bet again. So, yeah. It's going to be dicey. 550. It's a really big bet, actually. So, that makes me think... I mean, this looks like it's more of a fold, but he definitely could have some bluffs here, because a lot of the Broadway hands will be gut shots, and we don't block them. So hands like Queen, Jack, King, Queen, maybe... Four, 5 would do this as well, if he was barreling that. Again, really tricky spot. It'd be interesting to see what he had here. Yeah, so you've got to be good about 30% of the time. Um, I think this may be more of a call because we don't have a king, we don't have a queen, and we don't have a jack. So it makes it more likely that he could be betting those hands. But the run out is also really good for hands like over pairs. I'd be surprised if he bet hands, value bet hands worse than ace 10 and king 10 here on the river. So that really cuts it down quite a lot. We block pocket nines. I'm liking this more as a call now, actually. Simply because we don't have those other hands that could be blocking him. He does have queen queen. Great call. Great call. That queen 2 suited would definitely open up on the button. So sort of default button opening range. I would put in all the suited hands. And if we start getting free bet, we can adjust this. Just see, I think it's going to be something like 60%. Going to have all the pairs. Didn't mean to miss them out. Kings will put in. Sounds good. So, all the aces. Something like this is probably what I default to, and this is aggressive. So the reason that I prefer to be aggressive here until we get other information is I think people are just going to fold too much at this limit, especially on the fast forward version of the game. So it would be between this and something like this would be my default. Definitely all the suited hands. If we start getting raised, you know, raise will just cut it down a bit. Maybe even back to something like this, and then maybe get rid of like the worst hands. Probably still raising all the queens. Get rid of the ones that can't make straight. Something like that. It'd be rare that I'd be going under 50%. Yeah. Unless there was two really aggressive people in the blinds. Alright, so got 2-4. The nut low, nearly. Took it down, nice. King Jack, looks like we're going for the 3x here, so we're being consistent with the raise sizing. Okay, so easy check on the flop. Easy check call. Okay, so on this river, we could do that thing we spoke about earlier, where we can bet quite small so that they can't bet an ace really easy on the river. Sorry, so if they bet an ace on the river, then that's not going to make it massive and make it a bad call for us. So even if you bet like 40% of the pot here, you can get called by some weaker hands. It's quite tricky to get called, but yeah, it's quite close. I think their calling range is wider than their betting range that you're beating. I would probably call this. Nice. That queen 4 suited looks so much like ace queen. Oh, so yeah. See what happens with that ace on the button. Because when you have an ace, it's less likely the small blind and big blind have an ace when you're opening. So it means it will be even more successful. That ace 2, so we're going to be opening the small blind very similar to what we'd open on the button initially. So around that, maybe 50-60%, maybe a bit more actually. Maybe go down to like all the kings and then start tapering off around here and put all these back in. So that'd be about 65. The small blind big blind relationship, it really depends who's in there on the big blind. Was that quite a large raise there on the button? Could potentially be having a look at the flop there, the suited hands. If it was 85, it's going to be... Yeah, I don't mind a fold there. If it was connected, even like a 4-gapper or something, I'd have a look. So we folded 2s under the gun. That's really dependent on the table. I'll probably raise 6s and up by default. Definitely going to be opening this. So we're going for 2.5 on the button. I like that size as well. So because we have ace high, and we can play, and if we can hit some cards on the turn, that'll make it easier to continue. I don't mind a check here. Okay, so it's gone. Check now. I think we should check and give up if we did put this as a bet on the flop. Not a good card for us to call there on the river. You don't really want to be betting showdown value hands and medium strength hands there, because you can... It's easier to protect your entire range if you have some checks on the flop. So if you bet like your good draws and your strong hands, check your medium strength hands and check some traps as well, it means that you're not going to get check raised profitably as much. So these fours, we're only really worried about big blind squeeze in. I think I would flat this. No real need to squeeze there. So when we hit this board, I actually really like, unless we're against two regular players who are going to be taking notes on us and things like that, and we need to be balanced, I think we should definitely be leading this board, because it looks like when we check, we're going to be going for a check raise, and there aren't too many bluffs we're going to have on this board because it's rainbow. So yeah, I would just lead out, like, yeah, quite big, like $2, and hope to get cooled down by Jackson better. I assume we're check raising this, right? Also, let's see what he does. It's such a dry board, so it just looks like we have a set here. Okay, so... Did that go check, raise, check? I think the video just jumped. Oh, so we went for the call. Okay. Okay, I can get behind that. Definitely check again. This turn's quite good, because if he was bluffing, he's going to have some more outs via something like king, queen of clubs, or something that he decided to bet on the flop. Nice. Yeah, we need to get value at some point, don't we? The nice thing about leading is that if we get raised, it's easier to call. But if we check raise the turn now, it just looks super strong. He may even fold over pairs here to this if we do raise. Alright, hopefully he's got Jack 10. Ace Jack of spades. Maybe some spade broadways that you can continue with. We're quite deep with this player as well. So I don't think he's going to call too light here. Okay. So you might make more money there just by checking the turn and then leading some rivers, or maybe check calling or check raising the good rivers. That ace 10 we can free bet sometimes. I don't think you can call with it, so folding would be the next best option. See, we're folding or free betting is going to be good there. Yeah, 10-9, we can dump against the under the gun raise. Pocket twos in the cutoff. Don't really like this call. So one thing that I kind of like about it actually is when players have a non-max stack, that probably means they're more cally and less aggressive pre-flop. So you do kind of want to let them in. I think I'd definitely be flatting 5s and 6s here. Maybe 4s. 2s and 3s I might be dropping. The nice thing is, against the under the gun range, you can be pretty sure it's going to be a tighter range. So when you do hit your set, you can expect them to be betting strong hands. Yeah, I could go either way with 2s. It's near the bottom of what I would call with. This is really hard board to continue on. If he checks to us, we can check. Looks like we just passed that on. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, we can drop this. So we've got about another 5 minutes left of the video. Playing really well, so yeah. That ace-8 suited was probably where, like, the only call I didn't really like pre-flop. Twos was still right. So this will be against a small blind 3-betting range. This will be a call all the time unless you are certain this guy never bluffs. You have to call with ace-queen off. I would never 4-bet in position or even out position. It just works well pre-flop. Yeah, we should definitely be seeing a flop there. If we're folding ace-queen, we're going to be folding, like, too many hands. So, let me just clear this. So if we look at an under the gun range of opens, something like this. Maybe 7s, maybe 6s. All of the aces. I'll probably put in these 9s as well. 9, 8 and 7, 8. That looks about right. So that's 14% of hands, yeah? So if we fold up to the ace-queen, probably going to be calling these hands, aren't we? Ace, going to be ditching all of these. If we fold ace-queen, then we're folding too many hands, and that makes their 3-bet profitable. So if folding ace-queen, you may not even want to be calling those hands either. So it's part of our minimum defense. So unless we think he's really tight, we should be defending there. If it was under the gun versus middle position, and you're going to be out of position post-flop, you can't realise your equity as well, I can get more behind the fold there. But I'd probably still call. Ace-queen, that's good. Wow, I got like 3 ace-queens in a row. Against middle position cut-off, I'd use a balance strategy of, well, not balance, but a split strategy of sometimes calling ace-queen, sometimes 3-betting. I think when you call and hit an ace like this, you're looking really good. But when you 3-bet and hit an ace, it's not quite, it's still good, but it's harder to get 3 streets of value because you're just going to get called down by ace-king. It's less likely they called with ace-jack. But now it's definitely possible they can have worse aces here. So I call this 100% of the time. And looking just to cool down, really. And when it goes check, I would check behind. You can bet the river, or he can try and bluff the river. But I think he's going to be giving up a lot when he checks this. So that means it's a good spot to bluff with more hands. And maybe check back when you have some value. Give him another opportunity to put a bet in. Rick Sanchez, alright. He's in prison in this pick. The mugshot. 9-5 suited, I'll be raising that in a small blind. Ace-3 we can dump. So in the cutoff, I may raise something like ace-5 off, ace-8, and ace-9. Yeah, and up. Again, it's just nice to have that ace in late position because it means you're going to get 3-bet less. Definitely like this open. You can hit some really good hidden flops with those hands. The wheel aces. I'll be dropping that here. That's the thing. So in like live poker, if you can see the big blind is just going to be folding his hand, then that's when you can think about... that basically makes you become the big blind nearly, because you're getting that dead money from the big blind. So if he folds and you get heads up, then it's pretty decent. It's harder to do that online though. You can't really see if they're going to fold. Definitely fold ace-10 there. Pumping up the 9s, yeah. Looks like there's some weaker players potentially on this table for the open, which is nice. Pistol Pete's back. He's the one who limped under the gun, probably by mistake. So he's flattered us here. Right, so with 9s, I would be looking to get 3 streets of value here. We can't start putting in 10% of the stack here and try and get all in when we're this deep. So I just bet something like half to 3/4 pot on the flop, turn and river on decent runouts. Half pot seems like a good start. Nice, got about 2 minutes left of the stream video here. Looks like we're going to be sitting out next big. It looks like we're just going to get folds there. Alright, decent video, decent video. So, I hope that was helpful. I try and make the reply less than 3 months to get back to you. I was hoping to put this on the Party Poker stream, but they changed... they said the video review is really, really good for the player, but not as good for the people watching the stream. So I will probably be doing more of these on my YouTube channel. Thanks very much for the video. Good luck on the felt.